It's one thing to take in failed head coaches and stick them in a broom closet and slap an analyst name tag on them or whatever. The whole Nick Saban's clinic for rehabilitating failed head coaches or whatever. I actually think that's not a bad idea to do. But I, I don't know about bringing in failed players to start for you out of desperation and panic. Tyler Buchner has committed to Alabama. He transfer quarterback out of Notre Dame. Now, he played 10 games in 2021, Tyler Buchner did, 2 seasons ago. He only played 3 games last season. And now he's transferring to Alabama because just like Uncle Lou has been telling you, since last season, Alabama doesn't have a quarterback for this season. They don't. Jalen Mildew and Bart Simpson are horrible. I told you that last season when Jalen Mildew played and looked like crap. I told you that when the season ended. The Alabama fan, the sort of roller coaster of excuse making and really just bullshit that they've been saying about their quarterbacks has just been hilarious to watch. But they went from swearing up and down that Jalen, Mildew was going to be the next Cam Newton, to then saying, well, it doesn't matter that Jalen Mildew's not any good because we've got Bart Simpson and he's better than Jalen Mildew anyway. Then spring practice started and the reports started coming out that Jalen Mildew was better than Bart Simpson. And so the Alabama fans jumped on the whole, we told you he would improve, woo. Then we watched the spring game, and we all saw with our own eyes that neither one of those two QBs was worth a tinker's damn. We knew that the entire time. The Alabama man who lives in a constant state of confusion, just excuse after excuse, refused to accept reality. We watched the spring game. It's like the Alabama fans, it's like, they're seeing something different than literally everyone else is seeing. Those two quarterbacks were terrible. There was the rumor about Tyler Van Dyke, that Saban and the Alabama coaching staff had contacted Tyler Van Dyke in the week leading up to the spring game about possibly transferring to Alabama. The Alabama fans denied it. Turns out that rumor was probably true. All I had to do was watch the spring game to figure out that rumor was probably true. Because I think I made a video where I said in that video, yeah, Alabama fans are generally stupid, but Nick Saban's not stupid. He probably knows the two quarterbacks he has are hot garbage, and so, yeah, he probably is contacting Tyler Van Dyke or literally anyone else he can think of. Alabama fans denied it. The spring game comes and goes. The quarterbacks look terrible. A report comes out a few days ago that Notre Dame quarterback Tyler Buchner has entered the portal, and rumors that he's visiting Alabama. Well, the Alabama man, no, that's just it's smoke and mirrors. It's just it's a distraction, so people don't figure out where Tyler Buchner's really going. We don't need Tyler Buchner. Well, turns out you needed Tyler Buchner. Tyler Buchner today has committed to Alabama, played 10 games in 2021, 3 games last year in 2022, has about a 50% completion percentage, has more interceptions than touchdown passes. The guy's an absolute disaster. He's terrible. He's lost his starting job at Notre Dame now twice. He was a starting quarterback in 2021, lost his job. Starting quarterback in 2022, lost his job. Was the starting quarterback heading into this season and lost his job already to something called... Let me tell you, Sam Hartman is so bad, he lost his job to a Wake Forest player, okay? That's how bad Tyler Buchner is. Sam Hartman loses his job to Sam Hartman out of Wake Forest. Now he's at Alabama, and he's going to be your starting quarterback. Tommy Rees, this overgrown child, this 12-year-old that you hired as offensive coordinator for Notre Dame, which everybody in the country laughed at when you did it. Somehow the Alabama man is convinced that just because Nick Saban hired Tommy Rees, he's some amazing offensive coordinator. I had to remind you at the time, Alabama man has been crying about Bill O'Brien for 2 friggin' years. 2 years. Who's Bill O'Brien? An offensive coordinator hired by Nick Saban. So just because Nick Saban hires someone doesn't mean they're great. Even Alabama fans have been pissing into their golden flakes about their last offensive and defensive coordinator, Pete Golding and Bill O'Brien. You bring Tommy Rees in. This guy's about 9 years old. Notre Dame's offensively has been horrible under Tommy Rees with quarterback Tyler Buchner. You bring Tommy Rees in. That's not good enough. The Alabama fan running around after Tommy Rees was hired. Well, yeah, Tommy Rees wasn't good at Notre Dame, but look at the players he had to work with. He'll have better players at Alabama. Well, turns out the players he's going to have at Alabama is Tyler fucking Buchner. Alabama is circling the drain at this point. Somebody just needs to come along and flush it. Who remembers when Bobby Bowden leaving Florida State? You're about to see a similar situation unfold at Alabama right before our eyes. There is going to be very soon a slow building, increasingly loud contingent of people in and around the Alabama football program who are going to start to whisper that it's time for Nick Saban to hit the road. If you were around for Bobby Bowden's last few years at Florida State, we are about to see a very similar situation in Tuscaloosa. Bobby Bowden did not want to retire when he retired. He wanted to stay longer. He was basically forced out. Now, he had been there so long. He had won so many games. He had won national titles. It was handled with dignity, I guess. With one of these, it's a mutual parting of ways type. That's what's going to happen with Nick Saban in Alabama. Because what is happening there right now is unrecognizable. Unrecognizable to anything I've seen at Alabama under Nick Saban since his first year there, back in 2007. All these highly rated players, they don't have a receiver that can catch the ball. Their offensive line has been bad for 2 years in a row. Justice Haynes is probably the best player on that offense. He's never played a college snap, and he's probably their best offensive player. They lose Bryce Young to the NFL and Will Anderson to the NFL. The defense has got some talent on it, but look, Alabama's had the most talented roster in the country every single year for 15 years in a row. They haven't been doing this kind of dumb shit for 15 years. Tyler Buchner? You bring in Tommy Rees from Notre Dame, a failed offensive coordinator at Notre Dame. This would be like, okay, you know how we all laughed at Florida for bringing in Graham Mertz, right? Graham Mertz was terrible at Wisconsin. Florida brings him in. I want the Alabama fans that are watching this video right now, I want you to imagine what your reaction would be as an Alabama fan if not only did Florida bring in Graham Mertz from Wisconsin, but they also brought in the offensive coordinator from Wisconsin who was in charge of a terrible Graham Mertz. That's what Alabama has done here with Tommy Rees and Tyler Buchner. This is unbelievable to me. This is unbelievable to me. It would be sad to see if it wasn't so damn funny. But Nick Saban, I think it's going to get uncomfortable. I really do. These are not good decisions that he's making, in my opinion. I don't know what's going on there. I don't know why the quarterbacks are so bad. I don't know if they just swung and missed in terms of evaluating their recruits at the quarterback position with I don't know. But the fact that a team like Alabama is having to bring in a washed-up, failed quarterback from Notre Dame that's been benched 3 separate times, lost his starting job 3 separate times, and pairing him with the offensive coordinator he had while at Notre Dame is absolutely mind-boggling to me. Absolutely mind-boggling. I was leaning towards picking LSU to win the West again in 2023 anyway. I think this just solidifies it. Alabama will be a good team. There's too many talented players on that team for them not to be. They're not winning the West. They're not winning the SEC, and they're not making the college football playoff. The only people happier than me to see Alabama suffering in football is the people that run Talladega, the race down there in Alabama. NASCAR couldn't be happier right now.